start in just a minute. I just want to make an announcement. The website has changed. When you log into First Service, there's a handout there on the table. If you have not already seen it or you don't want the handout, you can sign up to have it emailed to you, and then you can have it in your computer. So just letting you know, it's there for you. Okay, I'm going to call this meeting to order. Ladies and germs, taking attendance starting from my right.
Ted County.
Cheryl Kretschkin.
Stephanie Bronstein.
Lois Weisler.
Robert Cohen.
Thank you very much. Shh, everybody, shh, please.
And Alan Millman.
Thank you. Okay, if you didn't hear, Karen Claus is on the mic. Okay, can we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, again, if you have not logged into Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. If you have not already logged into the new First Service website, the handouts are here. You can sign up for it digitally. Saturday, the clubhouse will be closed for the day. If you're a yoga aficionado, it will be moved to the theater.
I'm not going to sit here, just going to sit in my face.
Sit wherever you like for now. It's okay. We'll. What? Sit here, Alan.
Yes, it's there, Alan.
Please turn off your cell phone or put it on vibrate. Yeah, that's Alan. Okay, are there any new residents here this evening? Anyone who's never attended a board meeting before, like to say hello? Hello, hello, hello? No. Okay, I'm looking, that's okay, it's 5 more minutes and then we're done. I'm looking for a motion to approve minutes as submitted and waive the reading and order.
So moved.
Thank you.
I'll second that, but I want to make a comment. I sent Mark a correction a few days ago, which he says has been incorporated in the minutes, has to do with the tabling of the ACP rules. That version is not in your packets, but it's been changed. And it was just a question of what happened that we ended up tabling it. We tabled it in order to take the markup comments that were done at the meeting, final type.
And we're going to approve them tonight.
Yeah, final type them, so that's the reason it was tabled. I just clarified the wording in a minute that says that's why it was tabled. In the meantime, since the last meeting, they've been retyped, proofread several times, and we're ready to go ahead.
Okay, so the motion will include the amended minutes. Anyone opposed to accepting them as submitted? Okay, thank you, they're approved. Okay, Robert, your financial report, and I'm going to move this one.
This is the master's financial report. I've had comments and questions about whether it's what I'm doing is too much detail, not enough detail. So tonight we get 3 versions, and then we can see what you like. The first version is the I'll say it's the one that's posted on the blackboard over here that a few people might have had a chance to look at. It's just paper copies of what you're going to see on the screen. You put that up. It's not on the website yet, but it could be. You can take a look at it, and but you're here at the meeting, and you'll see the numbers. I can show you on the screen what it says. All right. This just shows you the assets. Basically, it tells the important stuff, which we've always wanted to hear in the past. We have just over $200,000 in the operating bank account. Today, as of the end of May, this is of course the end of April, so it's always late, but as of the end of May, we have just under $700,000 in the reserve account. That's our asset picture, and the other items are insignificant. Liabilities and equity, they balance pretty well. The bottom line on this is, as all the other sites, we're basically on budget comparing the months. This shows that we have had for the April and then year to date. For year to date, we've had total revenue of just under $950,000. We've had expenses of just under $886,000. So our expenses are a little bit better than our revenue picture. So we're a little bit ahead of budget on that, but not a gross improvement. This is an update of something I presented before. We will detail on the reserves. It shows the reserve spending up until the end of May. We get this not from the financial report, but from the invoices and the bank account data. So far this year, we spent $78,000+ in reserves, of which just under $40,000 was for irrigation, the other things for everything else. Our input to the reserve account is a little bit questionable as it shows up in the statements, but we're budgeted, have put in about just over $130,000 input plus interest for the year. That means for the year, we're about $52,000 ahead of income into the reserve account versus expenditures out of the reserve account. And here's the final, if you heard of the 2-minute agata, this is the 1-minute treasurer's report. The operating bank account has just over $200,000. The reserve account has almost $700,000, and we're on budget for the month and the year to date. So my bottom line is, at some point, I'd like input from the audience. Which version do you like the best? Because that's what we're going to continue with in the future.
My suggestion was a one-page handout, which is a summary of what he just read, that can be given out to the residents. Would that be something folks would want to see, as opposed to the slide show?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to do a raise of hands, although we don't usually try to do that. So how many would like to see a paper copy? Okay, and how many prefer to see the slideshow? Okay, so the paper copy.
Lois wants a one-page version. That'd be like the last 1-minute version that I just gave you.
Exactly.
Which is fine with me. That's what I used to come to the meetings and they'd say how much money we have in the bank account, and we're in good shape. Which is, if you're happy with that, that's fine with me. You can trust the treasurers to keep better track of it. I will also say that should anyone, as an owner, want to see the 4-page version of the monthly financial report, if you want to get into some more detail, it's on the website. Feel free to download it. It's a PDF. You can go through it. If you're really interested in getting into the nitty and gritty of the Masters Financial, you can also request me to send you the 95-page version, and you can see all the details if you're interested.
Well, I think the one page can cover pretty much everything he said, just without bar graphs, just the numbers.
Are we at the stage of commentary here?
Would you like to come back, sit here?
No, I like this.
No, come back. Thank you. Yes, comment away.
First of all, GARP clearly states that you can't have 3 different versions of a financial document. There can only be one. Because otherwise you don't know what the hell you're doing. There can only be one version, the official version of the financial documents. Distributing other versions and brings in a predictable degree of error. Anybody else who knows this? Raise a hand. Anybody in the room? Okay, I get it.
I think the numbers that he's using will be the same on all versions. One will have a bar graph.
Yeah, so we're on budget. I really don't know what the budget is, number one. Number two, what I also don't know is what the year-ago figures are. In other words, year-to-year comparison of year-to-date. That tells us where we're at.
The bar charts do show you year-to-date budget versus actual. That's the significant item on the bar charts.
No, that's not what I said. I said comparison year over year. Different thing entirely.
Our budget from year to year is grossly different, and it would make little sense to compare it last year to this year because we change the budget every year.
The things that would be the same would be contracts, more or less.
No, income and expenditures, gross income and expenditures from year over year tells it. That's why they do same-store sales in the business world. You compare year over year results per store. so that you can see how the business is doing.
I agree with you if this was a store, but because it's not a store, some years we have to put in 12 air conditioners, some years
No,
we...
that doesn't matter. It's still the same process. You want to see where you are year over year.
Stephanie?
Yeah.
Okay, if I'm understanding correctly what Robert is saying, and it makes sense to me if I do, is that what he's saying is he would like to hand out a simplified, down to the nits, just the basic idea version to people when you're at a meeting. But anyone can go to the website and see the more detailed report, and if they want to go really deep, they can contact Robert, and he will get a hold of them and give them the materials that they're looking for. So any comparisons or anything that you're looking for, you can get. If you're the only person who cares about that, then you can get it for yourself. That's kind of the way I see this. You want the simplified version to just go out so that everybody gets a general idea of what's going on.
And I'll
Anybody
probably-
needing more information can go and find it. It's there.
Okay.
I'll probably go ahead and prepare these charts and keep them on my, and if anybody wants one, you call me and I'll send you the PDF version, which is what's printed here. I would just add, Alan, the problem with going back in his history, and Doug will have to explain this to me, we cannot, as I understand it, easily access old financial data prior to 2016, at least electronic versions, and I don't know how we would get our fingers on them at this point prior to maybe 2016. If I'm wrong, let me know, but I know we've tried to look at old data and it's just not there.
If you're doing year-over-year comparisons, you'd be comparing 19 to 18. Therefore, not having anything before 16 doesn't matter.
Well, from a reserve, if we're looking at reserve studies information, that would help.
Everything
But
matters.
that's all we can get right now is prior years. Prior to first service coming, we're not going to be able to look at it. Shh, folks, please. Okay. Moving on. The first item on the agenda are the ACB rules. There were two sections that were added to Architectural Control Board, for anyone who's not sure what that means. You want to go do this part?
Sure. The Architectural Control Board rules were last revised, in 2009, and we're updating the rules across the board, and we did an update of the ACB rules. They were discussed in length in the meeting on May 22nd. A lot of changes the board proposed at the time. We made notes, and these have now been incorporated. There are a few are very minor clarifications that of interest to the ACB board, who had difficulty enforcing them because the language is unclear. The big change, which was discussed, really is not a change as much as it is a clarification. It has to do with fences, the big issue about fences and who builds them, who's responsible for maintaining them, etc. And the words were buried in the landscape section of the rules, which are hard to find, so we moved them out of landscape and put them in the architecture, just moving a paragraph from one place to the other. And we have added, as a result of the comment at the meeting, a one-sentence specification of what the standard Rainbury Bay fence is supposed to be. It had never really been defined before, although de facto it's been followed as the standard for years. Nobody questions it, but we put it in writing.
All right, I'll read it. So we added a new section 2.1, which says if a resident installs a fence without prior approval of the ACB, the fence may be removed by Rainbury Bay staff at the expense of the resident after proper notice given until ACB approval is granted. Any new fence approved by the ACB becomes the homeowner's responsibility to be painted at installation with the approved fence color for the house and become the homeowner's responsibility to maintain, including repairs and paintings. So this is if a resident installs a fence. Any homeowner changes in fences may be done only with the approval of the ACB. Page 4. Page 4. Any homeowner who wants the present fence removed or changed must fill out and submit an ACB request form. The fences originally installed by the developer are the responsibility of the association as regards maintenance and painting. If a homeowner wishes to have a fence removed, as may be in the case of villa and patio homes, then the association will bear the cost. No fence, wall, or other structure shall be erected in the front yard, backyard, or side yard setback areas, except as originally installed by the developer, except as approved by the ACB as provided above. Installation of any fence, wall, or other structure, as noted above, must be approved by the ACB prior to the homeowner seeking and obtaining a permit from the City of Delray Beach. New and replaced complete fences shall be of the standard Rainberry Bay design, being of the straight shadow box type, not more than 72 inches high with 4 by 4 inch posts, 2 by 4 inch backer boards. Do you need to know the details? No. Okay, it spells out the specs. And the other change, and that's basically it. We just took part of that from another section and moved it into its own section. All right, do I have a motion from the board to accept these changes as submitted?
Wait a minute.
Well, no, we have to make a motion, put it on the floor, board discusses, everybody
I
else.
do have a
You're not
question.
bringing it up to code.
Excuse me?
You're saying using the 4x4.
Okay, well, let me just do the motion, and then I promise,
Move the motion.
thank you. Do I have a second for the motion?
Second.
Thank you. Okay, comments from the board, please?
Question,
Yes, Stephanie. I'll come to you, I promise.
the sentence, any new fence approved by the ACB becomes the homeowner's responsibility to be painted at installation with the approved fence color for the house and becomes the homeowner's responsibility to maintain, including repairs and painting. That seems a little ambiguous because what you just said, and I think that's what it's supposed to mean here, is that the fence, any new fence installed by the community, not by the,
No, this is installed by the homeowner.
no. Any new fence installed by the community is still gonna be taken care of by the community. So in other words,
It says
if I
that further
say,
on.
okay, so if I say to you, my fence, which I have never done anything with myself, it's the same fence that I had when I bought the place, and it was the same fence that was here when the builder put the place together, it needs to be completely repaired. Completely repaired. So once that happens, then I'm not responsible. It's as if that is the original fence.
Correct.
Okay. But I think it's a little difficult to discern that from the language.
A replaced fence is different from a new fence.
Okay.
A replaced fence is a replacement of a fence that was there before. A new fence is a fence that's never been there before. That's new.
Thus, then you need to change the word new to replace. Any new fence approved by the ACB, that implies a brand new fence, not a replaced fence.
Hold on.
Well, you still have the problem of, was the old fence builder installed?
Yes, we're
Or
talking.
was it?
Right, no,
This-
we're
this
talking
is-
about
this is-
builder installed
I
fence.
understand that, and there's a statement in here that is, I think, confusing, because it says, once it's approved by the ACB, and it leads us to believe that if the ACB approves it, then it becomes our maintenance
Right.
issue, and it's not supposed to be
Right.
that.
So if the ACB approves it, that means that the resident is requesting to install a fence. You don't need ACB approval if the community has to fix a fence that's already there. You don't need ACB approval for that. Management, you put in a work order, management gets the fence replaced.
Yeah, but you still need a permit.
They need, well,
Yeah.
the fence company needs a permit. The homeowner doesn't need a
So
permit.
that's what what we're hinging the interpretation on, the fact that it says approved by the ACB.
So maybe we should separate this into 2 paragraphs. The first part ends with the must fill out and submit an ACB request form, and then the next part is where the fences originally installed by the developer begins. Maybe that's the second paragraph.
You could almost say anything approved by the ACB board is a homeowner responsible item.
Exactly. Exactly.
Presently, the ACB does not get into anything if change is made, work done by the homeowners association or by management. That's not under ACB purview. Only changes that the homeowners or village owners request. Otherwise, commonly, just up to the board to approve it.
But again, gonna hang on to this, because I think that to anybody who doesn't know that already going in, that's not what they're going to interpret necessarily from this wording.
Okay, so what, you have a change you want to suggest?
Again, any new fence approved by the ACB and installed by homeowner, just adding that installed by homeowner would clear it up.
But the very first line says, if a resident installs a fence. So that's why, to me, that whole part started with that.
Right.
That was how I interpreted it. But that's why I think maybe separating the two sections
Okay.
might be a
You know,
little.
again, if a resident installs a fence without prior approval, the fence would be removed. Well, that's a whole different kettle of fish in my opinion.
Okay, so let's go back to two paragraph portions. 2.1a and 2.1b. What, go ahead, Joe.
All right, let me throw another curveball.
Okay, go
The
for it.
curveball is this.
Uh-huh.
Person wants to replace a homeowner fence. It's already been approved by the ACB. Does he have to go back to the ACB a second time?
I would say you probably need a permit, so probably yes.
Well, you already
It says
had a
any-
permit, you already had a permit one time for a fence, and you also had permission from the ACB board to put in
I'll
the
ask
fence.
Rob
Now
to
it
answer
needs to
that.
be replaced by the homeowner. Does he have to go through everything all over again?
And when you say replace, you mean replace because it was damaged or something like that, or deteriorated?
Yeah, yeah.
The city requires a permit if you replace more than 2 sections of a fence, and I think if you replace one main post. That's the city's demarcation between when you need the permit and when you don't. We would still like an ACB request for anything, because one of the issues we've had, the homeowner does the work, he forgets to tell his contractor, oh, by the way, you've got to paint it when you get all done, and then the contractor, well, you didn't pay me to paint it. Then the homeowner goes and gets a bucket and paints it, or separately hires somebody else to paint it. It's happened too many times, so we want a permit for any work to make sure they know what the rules are, make sure before they contract, they read the rules, and know that if they're going to have a contractor do it, they have to get a permit, they have to get all the paperwork into the ACB, the licenses, the insurance, et cetera, for any work. So that's why.
Just
Pardon me?
please wait, Dominic, please.
Painting?
No, don't answer. Wait, please. Any other questions from the board? Go ahead.
Should it say past and present residents, installed by past or present, as opposed to just resident?
That-
So they know when
That
they
would be
move
helpful
in,
too.
because we've been having a lot of problems with those type of issues lately.
That history can be difficult to acquire in certainty, unfortunately.
Well, unfortunately, like everything.
If they filled out an ACV.
Okay, so in the section that starts, the fences originally installed by the developer. Please, folks. In the section that starts, the fences originally installed by the developer, and then for a little further down, it says, except as originally installed by the developer, except as approved by the ACB. I think that's a little confusing as well. Do we want to rewrite this and then come back to it? Okay, table. Is everyone okay with, on the board, okay with tabling this? Thank you. All right, is that okay? We'll come back next meeting. And I think these specs are what the city requires, because Robert does his research. Yeah, hold on. Hold on. And then I want to move on, because we're tabling this. So what do you have?
Hello.
Go ahead, Al.
For 2 points of interest, the city does require a permit. They do come out and check. And it is my thoughts that because of we're in Florida, that it might be a nice requirement that if all the posts be sunk in concrete.
Yeah.
Because your insurance company for your home will come out and check.
That's part of the specs that are required. Yep.
Okay.
There are very weak code requirements for fences in Florida. There's a requirement in the commercial code, there's very little in the residential code. However, the one thing they do say, and that's why we limited the height to 72 inches. In Florida code, You only have to concrete embed the post if the fence is higher than 6 feet. That's higher than 72 inches. That's why we cut it off. Now, that's not to say that it's not a good idea, okay, but the code doesn't specifically require it. So we in Palm Beach County are not in the high velocity hurricane zone. The high velocity hurricane zone by code, by law, is only Miami-Dade County and Broward County. That's not to say that the wind speed in Palm Beach County is not just as high, but all of the special high velocity hurricane zone requirements do not apply. Your insurance companies don't like that, and they try to get you to do a bunch of stuff anyway, but the city doesn't make you do it.
Okay. The next item on the agenda are the bocce courts. We have a number of proposals. Basically, what has happened in the area, in the courts themselves, is that we got termites. And so the wood is, I understand, irreparably damaged. So, yes, that's what happens with termites. So we have a number of proposals. I will give you the summation. From Fast Dry Courts, it's 2 parts. The first part is to remove and dispose of the existing wood borders and pour concrete containment borders. And then resurface them and add drains. The total of that, $16,850.
Lois, this is the bocce courts you're talking about.
Didn't I say bocce courts?
No.
I said bocce courts. Yes. Okay. Hang tight. All the bocce players are here tonight. The next contract is from Creative Contracting Group. Demo and haul all boards and nails for the concrete, drains, wall holders. This does not include the cost of the permit. In fact, the other one doesn't either. $17,500. Hey, please.
Lois?
Yes.
Those 2 proposals that you looked at right now are apples to apples.
Okay.
The third
Put
proposal.
your mic on, please.
Is this thing on?
Oh, it's
Okay.
on, but I can't hear you.
The third proposal, I could not get the guy to get us apples to apples. I was back and forth 4 times with him. There was also a 4th company that I couldn't get a proposal at all from. The first 2 companies, FDC is a company that now maintains our tennis courts and has been for quite some time. The CGC is a company that is doing bocce ball courts for all the new developments, Bellagio's, Valencia's, and the bocce club has played on many of the courts that they have built. Both very qualified, both great, top-notch.
Okay, and the third one, which we're obviously not going to consider, is $27,000.
For 1 court.
$800 for 1 court. Okay, so obviously we're not considering them. They get to sit on the side. Okay, I'll wait. Thank you. Okay, so the first one is for Fast Dry, and the second one is the Creative Contracting Group. Did you want to say something, Robert?
I'm just curious, Mark, do we have a time frame estimate for both of these contractors?
They're both ready to go.
No, how long will it do the work? How long have bocce courts been out of use?
I think there's something like, because that's for concrete is secure. I don't have an exact time frame.
And it's probably a little challenge. Well, I mean, it was raining every afternoon for the next week or so that they can get it done in
But
the
that would be
morning.
the main
And then,
thing, Robert, the securing.
okay, does any comments from the board on either of these? Do we want to make a motion to accept one or the other? No.
First,
No. Go ahead.
I'm going to get really unpopular with this.
Go for it.
Can anyone show me any amendment that was ever passed adopting the bocce courts as an additional amenity for Rainbury Bay?
Never happened.
Never happened. Okay, now listen, I have a fiduciary responsibility. that I have to adhere to. My fiduciary responsibility is not to spend money that is illegally spent. I think bocce courts are great, they're wonderful things. They have never been approved by the community as a new amenity. And therefore, it is, in my opinion, illegal for us to be pouring money into an amenity that, as far as our documents are concerned, doesn't
Hang on,
exist.
everybody. Wait, please.
What?
Victoria, please. Please stop. No, don't answer. If
Okay,
you're gonna
fine.
yell, we're not gonna answer your question. Please wait. I was here when the board at that time did approve a bocce, I think it was a club at the time.
No.
Please, I will give you all a chance to speak, I promise. It was approved at the time that we would fund building the courts. The bocce court, at that time, it was one court. It was either a club or committee, I can't swear to it. It was Lester Fishbein who came in, made a proposal to the board. She remembers as well. Diane, whoever else was here. And it was approved. It does not appear in our documents, because our documents have never been updated anyway, but while it may not be listed as a specific amenity in our docs, it was approved by the board at the time, and we have been caring for those courts ever since.
Here's the problem. The board didn't have the authority to do that. Changing the amenities requires an amendment to the restrictive covenants, not just the articles and the bylaws, the covenants, because they define what's supposed to be here.
Changes is
Well-
one thing, adding is something else.
Well, I think
This is added,
I
yes.
think our documents say to maintain, but not limited to, and it mentions what it's not limited to, and so this was added.
Yeah, okay, what I'm saying is that we've been operating illegally this whole time. And all I want to do is get it legally approved, because otherwise I have to vote against this, because I'm spending money that is not supposed to be spent.
You can vote, everybody votes how they wish to vote. So I'm going to go back to my question to the board. Of these two quotes, is there one we are leaning towards over the other?
The two quotes are almost...
I understand, but we have to pick a company.
Yeah, I would pick the company we already do business with.
Are you going to make a motion?
No, because...
Okay, so, thank you. Would somebody like to make a motion? Yes, Joe.
I move that we take the company that has the most experience in building bocce courts.
Which is?
I think is the...
Good job, Joe.
17,000.
Hang on, folks, please. Go ahead, which one? The Fast Dry is 16.8, Creative Contracting is 17.5. I mean, they're nominal difference. So which one are you making the motion for, please?
17.5. Somebody said they built them all over the place
Okay.
for other places.
So we're making a motion to accept the contract from Creative Contracting Group. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Stephanie. Any other comments from the board? Now we'll take comments for anyone else. Dominique and Victoria, and then we'll move to that.
Hi, Dominique Lemoyne. I have a couple questions. One, why does it have to be a concrete border? Why you only have 2 bids? I'm assuming we can try to at least get more, but why a concrete border? And according to Alan, if this has not
Hey,
been
folks,
approved,
please.
what if somebody got hurt? So isn't it kind of important that we get these documents changed so that can kind of cover our ass?
We are working on the documents. We're not ready to have them voted on yet, but
Right, so here you're voting to get a company to fix something that you haven't voted on to fix.
well, right now it's an amenity that we're going to maintain. Victoria, did you still want to speak? Or take the microphone, please.
Victoria, I just wondered, if this is an existing...
Talk into it, because nobody can hear you. All the way
I have
close
to
to
do
the
this several times a year. Use it like it's an ice cream cone.
Point it at your mouth,
That's how
and
close
then
it is.
talk.
After it. I just wondered if there's some insurance covering this. If it was damaged
We have
by-
insurance for all our amenities. Is there a specific policy for bocce? I don't think so.
Yeah, why don't you check that out first?
Talk into the mic, please, sir.
It's not covered because it's the same like a fence. Fences aren't covered, they're not attached to any.
Okay,
No, actually, we're not interested in replacement liability, insurance, we're talking about liability.
Liability, of course, you're covered anywhere.
Okay, that's the point that we want to make. Somebody gets damaged over there,
Yeah.
we're covered.
and we did have a third bid, which was much more, and not apples to apples. Mark already said, you tried to get 4 bids, the last 2 were not apples to apples, so that's why we're not considering
Is there
them.
anything else besides the
Well,
concrete?
we have 2, and that's all we really need to
No, is
have.
there something besides concrete?
No.
The problem is the wood gets, got had termites, so I'm gonna go around. Go ahead, Joe, and then we're
The
gonna.
reason,
Jerry, please.
excuse me,
Excuse me.
hello? You want an answer to your question? Stop talking. Okay, concrete, because if you were listening in the beginning, the boards rotted out, termites ate them. So now they're gonna put concrete in. And in the proposal, they're gonna line the inside of the concrete with a material so that it doesn't get damaged when they're rolling the balls and stuff. Okay?
Okay, go ahead, Marv.
Yes, Marvin Wilmer. Lois, you keep saying an amenity. This was never voted by the community as an amenity. The board of directors at that time, Henry Woods, gave $5,000 of the board's money to construct one bocce court. Okay? So technically, it is not an amenity because the amenity was never approved by a vote of the community.
Okay.
You can call it what you want, but unfortunately, I do have to agree with Alan. It's not an amenity. Well, you know, I don't agree with you on anything. But this happens to be true, that it is not an amenity, and I don't, personally, I know people love it, they enjoy it, but to spend $17,000 for something that was never voted on by 901 units, I think is a little outrageous.
Thank you. Moving along. Go ahead, Rich, and then we'll go to the back. Give your
I
name.
disagree with
Give-
Al,
give your
I
name.
disagree with you.
Rich, give your,
Because at that
excuse me,
meeting,
give your name for the recording.
everybody knows.
No, you're being recorded. Give your name for the recording. In the microphone. Excuse me, in the microphone. Give your name, please. Talk in the microphone. Thank you. Go ahead, say what else you want to say. Thank you.
Okay. That particular meeting,
No, talk to the board.
I
Thank
had
you.
that particular meeting
Yeah.
years ago. And by the way, it was a the board at the time said that they didn't want to have it for the same reason that he said it. That
In the mic.
it's not, it was never approved. But there was an item in this place long before he came that that they wanted
Putting green?
no, forget the putting green.
No, that didn't pass.
They voted for a kitchen in the theater.
Okay.
Anybody hear about it? I don't think so. Nobody here was here at the time. And it was voted down. It was built anyway. And it was the best thing that ever happened to this community. Just like the Bocce Club, it was the best thing that happened in this community.
Okay, we're not debating that.
If it was voted down, who did it?
Which was worse, wasn't it? But it still was.
Okay, let's not, those things have nothing to do with each other. But, okay, thank you, Rich. Thank you. Go back to Jim, I think Jim, Shelley, then go to Shelley. Oh, okay.
Thanks. Jim Walsh, I have a question for the board. If this project goes through, who's going to oversee it? And the reason I ask that, the last concrete job at the bocce courts was a complete disaster. So if we're going to spend that kind of money, I would like to be assured that it's going to be done correctly and it's going to be safe. Because the reason why they did that concrete job before was to eliminate a lot of problems, and it created more problems than what it solved. So I would like to see the money spent wisely if we're going to do it.
Oh, thank you. Shelley?
Hi, Shelley Glass.
Talk into the mic because I can't hear you.
Sorry, Shelley Glass. I guess I just wanted to say that, in the archives, and those of you that have been here for some time know that the original money was appropriated by a board. It's been taken care of and further funded by boards along the way. I think I was still on there when we decided that we would have Christy Cherry maintain them. Again, that was a contract that was drawn up. So there's a tremendous amount of precedent for us to have adopted these as something that we are responsible to take care of. They're well used. This group of everybody has been the most proactive and self-sufficient in terms of costing the community very little money. They've built their own ball racks. They've purchased their own protection from the sun. I mean, they've really been very self-sufficient and have asked for very little, and I would love to see the board follow through on this.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, I'm going to take a vote. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see the hands.
Yes, I'm Diane Maxey, and I'm the president of the Bocce Club. And as you said, the Lester Fishbine had the charter for the Bocce Club approved in 2008, I believe it was. And since that time, the membership of the group that participates in Bocce has grown 800%. We now have 120 members. And at any given time, especially during the season, we have 40 to 50 people. So a lot of wear and tear goes on that court. Even as the termites have eaten it, just the balls have eroded some of the texture of the court. And as Shelley said,
Somebody's phone is buzzing.
we have spent money to repair the courts as we can all along. And we just about kind of run out of the ways to keep the court in the shape it needs to be.
Whole table shaking. Sorry, Diane.
Anyway, that's all I have to say. I think it's a very good amenity, whether or not it gets approved in the documents. We support it wholeheartedly.
Thank you. Give your name for the recording, please.
How you doing? I'm Jerry Lagosine, and I'm on the
Jerry.
bocce court.
I can't hear you. Go ahead.
I play bocce with
Okay.
everyone else, okay? And you mentioned the concrete prior about being insufficient and just junk. And the reason is, the company that they use is
Please.
a pool company.
Hold it closer, please.
Didn't the concrete be poured by the pool company? They're not concrete people. So you're throwing your money away when you don't use the right type of contractors.
Okay.
When you're voting now for the contractors for this, you vote for the best. Because that's all you're gonna get is the one-time shot. And not have the guy who's gonna come and crack the pool, come and put in concrete for us that's too short. It's not done right, and it's already cracking. There's no expansion joints, there's nothing.
Okay.
It's totally shabby job.
Okay, thanks, Jerry. Yeah, I think, well, as Mark said, this is the company that's doing bocce courts in a lot of other communities. Okay, anybody else?
Yes, I have a comment.
Shh, folks, please.
I'm not
Folks.
against bocce. I've actually
Excuse
seen
me.
people playing bocce. I would never get on the court and do it, but I've seen people
Hold on,
play.
please, excuse me, ladies and gentlemen,
It looks
someone's
like
speaking.
fun. Okay, but I happen to know that our board and officers insurance will not cover me if I vote yes to put money into something which is not an approved amenity. So, as far as my vote is concerned, I'm constrained. I'm not about to put my personal assets at risk by voting yes for something that is not covered by the board and officers insurance. Other people want to vote yes anyway, be my guest.
Thank you. Last comment, and then we're gonna vote. David, I have one for my friend Ray. No, you have to use the microphone. I'm deaf. Don't you know that by now? Okay. Folks.
Can't we alleviate all this, and just like what we did for ping pong in here, it's at your own risk? Would that be, the easiest, I think?
No, I think, it's not like ping pong that's at your own risk. Is it? I mean, if you get injured on the property,
No, this is not at your, it can't be at your own risk because we installed it, we maintained it, we improved it, and therefore anybody who's injured on it, it's on our dime. Tennis, table tennis, ping pong, comes and goes. You can move it around. It's not a problem. But this is a permanent, fixed installation.
What about the tennis courts?
Okay.
Tennis courts are covered because they're one of the approved
Okay,
amenities.
we're going to stop all the comments. I'm going to take a vote on for the board, starting from my right. Oh, Karen has a comment. Hold on. Go ahead, Karen.
Okay. My question is this. Can this be tabled until they look into the archives to see if this was approved down the line? Considering, we can move on afterwards.
Everybody, please. She's speaking.
No. Okay.
Go ahead, Robert. And I'm taking a vote.
All right, I just want to comment, looking quickly through the covenants. In section 4, it says the master association shall at all times maintain in good condition and repair, shall replace as necessary any and all improvements situated on the common areas. These improvements include, but are not limited to, all recreational facilities, including tennis courts, landscaping, paving, including sidewalks, etc., etc. That's section 4. Now in section 8, it says, if I can find section 8 quickly, under deferred maintenance expenses, a funny place to put it, it says, the association board of directors, this is Masters, shall have the authority to provide for funding accounts for deferred maintenance expenses, including, but not limited to, funds for capital expenditures and deferred maintenance. These funds, the reserves, may be used at the discretion of the board of directors in its sole and absolute discretion. Additionally, where there's a surplus, the money carries over. So my reading of the covenants says the exact recreational facilities are not defined. They are not limited to tennis courts, etc., but they're not defined. And the board, this board, the master board, can spend its reserve money for any expenditures. We have pooled reserves. We can spend it on whatever we want. So I'm not sure I agree with Alan that we're violating our covenants, because as I read them, I think the board has a discretion to put in bocce courts. There were, prior to bocce courts, there were shuffleboard courts. I don't know what happened to those. I don't know where those were ever approved either. Okay, they're not on the drawings. They're not on the plan. But I'm questioning that we have any problem with authority at this point.
Thank you. I'm going to take a vote, starting with
He said something that has to be pointed out. Capital expenditures, which is what happens, includes the installation of new physical improvements, require a community vote. If it's a capital, no, the difference is between upkeep and maintenance and capital expenses.
Okay.
What's that?
No. Okay, I'm taking a vote, starting from my right.
Yes.
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 No.
Yes.
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 I just have a point of personal privilege. I just added it up, and I have 10 months left on this board. I'm never running again, so I'm going to vote my conscience like any matter.
Okay. Moving along, folks. We have a lot more business to do, so bear with us, and please, let us do what we need to do, please. Okay. The next section has to do with landscape oversight recommendations, of which there are many. Many. Do you want to present this, Joe? We're starting with page 14? Or do you want me to just do 14? You want me to just go through them? Folks, please. You know who you are. You want me to go through? Please, seriously. Thank you. The first one calls for the right side of the clubhouse parking lot. If this has to do, and I'm going to ask Francesca, On the left side, the plants are low, on the right side, the plants are high, is that what this is? It's, it says the right side of the clubhouse, of the office clubhouse parking lot. Is that when you go past the circle to the back? The one I'm looking at, it says 1064.
Oh, okay.
Okay. This is landscaping. This is past, not the front entrance, towards the back. Well, you can't both be working on the same thing. Well, you can't both be working on the same thing. If this is part of landscaping. Hold on, shh. Yeah, thank you.
Hi, Francesca Polaro. If we're talking about the hedges right outside the public.
The trinnets?
The trinnets. That is the one as soon as you walk in.
I can't hear you talk into.
That's the one as soon as you walk into, towards the clubhouse.
Okay, well, Gail's been working on that.
We've got, yeah.
No, it's not, it's plantings. It's the trinnets you're gonna fill in.
This is the, as you pull in behind the clubhouse to go to the office.
Right, on the right, where there's spaces, they're missing.
Yeah.
That's what this is?
Yes, and that's what we've already gotten approval to do before.
Not the entrance, you have the entrance.
That's what's confusing here. Right side of office, clubhouse, parking lot. Which is it? What are we talking about outside of?
The back end.
The back parking lot. The back parking
The
lot.
parking lot near the office.
Yeah, as
Yes.
you come around the corner, you
Right.
got your nets,
But-
kind of like, yeah.
But that's something we already did vote on 2 meetings past.
I thought we only voted on the front entrance.
No.
The ones that all deteriorate.
Yeah, there's a swale where a bunch of trinets obviously were at some point
Right.
and then died and nothing.
In other words, if you go
replaced.
out the other door, the second door, they're right
Yes.
between that door and this door.
Yeah, the point is that this is another version of the same thing we've already voted on.
Okay.
I was under
And-
the impression that the plants that were there originally and have been taken care of by Palm Beach Broward is part of the oversight.
So did I.
So then I don't understand what.
I thought what we voted on last time was just the front entrance.
That's what I thought was the front entrance.
Yeah.
She said.
I can prove that's not
We're
true.
gonna do this in-house, and this price of $398 will be way higher than what, we'll just take.
Okay,
let's just
so we're not gonna do this one.
We got this.
Yeah, and I think we're at 175 for the one that we already read. And while we're talking about doing the same thing twice, I want to make sure that on page, well, it's.
Give me the-
Through this,
Oh,
can we go
okay.
through this?
All right.
And as we come to it.
Okay.
Are we going
All
to
right.
go through
The
every
next one-
single page?
Oh, yes, we're gonna go through every single page. The next one is proposal 1063. That's by the theater circle. It's page 13, page 15, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's the
So this
numbering is up in the upper right-hand
Upper
corner.
right-hand corner says 1063. This one's for the circle in front of the theater.
To completely redo that circle with.
Right, in the parking lot. Francesca, question. These are crotons, Panama rose, Thai plants? Yeah, page 15. It's your 1063?
Yes.
Okay, so that's what that is? Okay. All right, so that totals $3,264. Did we have any other bids on this? Or we're just going with what Palm Beach recommended?
I'd like to make the point that we're talking about almost $11,000 worth of plantings. And I have a question for Robert. Is our irrigation system now at a point where this stuff isn't going to die?
Yes, go ahead. No,
All
just
right.
answer for the theater.
No, I'm talking about the whole thing. I mean, we want to spend $11,000 on plantings. The question is whether or not we can water them yet.
Yes, we can. At this point, we have all the pumps running except one. We have almost gotten a handle on the power problems. We still need to work with FPL. But in the meantime, at this point, and for several weeks now, all the pumps except one have been running, which gives us 120 horsepower, which is more than we had when we only had 3 stations, so we're well above. We are readjusting controller schedules to take advantage of that. So the answer to Alan is yes, the irrigation system is now basically back to normal operation. We need to change the days.
Just a simple answer.
And it's irrigating at
That's
3
great.
times a week.
It's only taken us 2.5 years.
Okay.
So here's my next point. I really dislike getting these bids where I've got like 10 different sheets of paper for $500, $800, $1,200, $2,100. Who cares? I want to see one bid that itemizes the entire thing. And then we're now looking, instead of looking at $590 or whatever else, we're looking at $11,000. That's beyond Mark's discretionary authority, number one. And number two, it's a whole different kettle of fish when you look at it all at once. And I dislike this piecemeal approach toward, I mean, I know that you want to know where these things are going, but honestly, sitting here in this room, I don't care. What I care about is, what's the total cost? Did anybody else bid? I know that we're in bed with Palm Beach Broward, for better or for worse, until we kick them out or whatever happens next. But in the meantime, we're not talking about nickels and dimes. We're talking about 11 grand.
Okay, now, may I say something? If you had given a list of just everything, 11,000, everybody would have balked. Because it would have said, 11,000, no, I want to know exactly where our money's going, where it's going, where it is, how much it is, and how much time. That's what you got. That's what you always want. Now you're switching the whole game around?
I've been saying this for 2 years.
I'm fine with this.
This way allows you, as the masters of decision, do we want to do this part now? Do we want to? Because instead of doing the whole thing, you can't say, no, we don't want the whole thing.
Right.
This way tells me, I'm going to choose what is more important, what I want to make it look, and let me tell you something, I want this community to look good. I want it to start looking good, and it is starting. Let's give it a chance, and let's do what we have to do. We have money for everything else, except the beauty of this community, and it's important to do that. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Joe has a comment.
Well, I was going to say basically the same thing that Francesca said, is I would rather have a breakdown and cast 1 or 2 or 3 of these things out. It's all or nothing. Does that sound familiar? I think we had some with amendments like that once, all or nothing. I don't ever want to go through that again.
Okay, so this is for the theater circle. It's 3264. Any questions about what this proposal is from the board first? Hang on.
I have a question as to why we're going through this, because we've got a package here. We don't have any competing bids. None of these individual items comes up to the point where we need a competing bid. And therefore, since there's nothing else on the table except for these, and I don't have the capacity to go through this in detail and say, look, I want to do this, I don't want to do that, nor do I have the expertise.
Okay.
So I would move that we just accept the package as is and be done. That's my motion.
I have some questions on a couple of these. So I mean, if you want to make that motion, you can
I'm
make that
making
motion.
that motion, yes.
Okay.
Let's just approve it and get on to the next item of business. Is there a second?
Okay, go ahead, do I have a second? Well, we're not taking the first page. We already know that first page we're saying no to. The bid that for $398, page 14, we're saying no to. So everything except that. Do I have a second for Alan's motion? I do not. So can I get a motion just to approve page 15, which is the theater circle?
I move that we approve page 15, proposal 1063.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Robert. Okay, so again, this is just strictly for the theater circle. Okay? All right, I'm going to take a vote from the board. Starting from my right, just on page 15, just for the theater circle.
Yes.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
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 Okay, thank you. The next one is, which is our page 16, it's for the entry monument signs. Francesca, I have a question for this. Did we not do this already?
No.
Well, we just put the flowers in for the entry.
No.
Can you, sorry, use the mic, please.
This is to redo the monument.
I can't hear you.
Closer? Oh, there you go, okay. This is to redo the monument areas. You have trees that are being held with cord on the monument, in the monuments. You have dead,
But didn't they just put in new flowers?
Yes, but they're not going to be disturbed.
But they're not what?
They won't be disturbed with completing this.
Okay.
We're taking the juniper off the area, putting in grass.
Okay. Is there a reason these marigolds? Those aren't marigolds, those flowers at the front? Folks, please, please, please.
You mean the annual?
The entrance, yeah.
Those are what Broward Beach does every quarter.
I understand, but what kind, I'm asking what kind, are they all those marigold flowers?
Yes.
Okay, and we plant them in Florida in the summer? Okay, alrighty, so this is the entry, monument signs, philantronettes, some red cotton leaves, sod, junipers, robelinis, bougainvillea, and jeffropia, which I looked up because I didn't know what they were. And the total on that is $2,171. Do I have a motion to accept this?
I have a question.
Oh, okay. Well, I need a motion first.
Okay.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to accept this?
I move to accept the proposal for $2,171. Proposal 10-19. I have a comment though when we get all done.
Okay, I just wanted the motion first. Go ahead.
Second.
Thank you. Joe? Go ahead. Your comment?
This is a nitpicking comment, I suppose, but I've made it over and over again, and Palm Beach Broward doesn't seem to get it. Their standard language is, in all their contracts, all landscaping will be done to meet Palm Beach County landscape codes. Unfortunately, those don't apply to us. All of our work must be done in accordance with the City of Delray Beach landscape regulations. We're not necessarily the same as the county and have a number of differences. So I would just ask that we get the word to Palm Beach Broward that when they do their work, they use the right code.
Okay, I think it's just their standard form. Okay, any other questions?
Yes.
Questions? Stephanie?
Could someone describe to me which of the palms are the 3 robellini palms?
It says dispose of 3
Disposing of
robelinis.
3
It's
robellini
proposal
palms.
10-19.
Are you asking what are the robelinis?
Where are they? Which ones are they specifically?
Looking at the monuments are on the right and the left side. Coming out of the community, the one on the left side is being held with cord. I don't know where that came from.
Okay.
The other one is dying, and the other 2 are going into the community, on each side of the monuments.
Okay, so they're not the palm trees that are past the gate. No, they're at the very front. Okay.
Okay. Any other questions from the board? Any other questions? Going. And then, Jerry.
Yeah, down there, I have a question about the cypress, the bushes there. What are those called? No, the junipers. What are you planning to replace with those? You planning on removing those?
Yes, the junipers are going out and the grass is coming in, so
That's my question. I'm asking everybody. So you're removing the junipers and replacing that with grass, is that correct? Okay.
Okay, and can you give the mic to Jerry? Jerry, you had a question? Yeah. And then we're gonna vote.
I have a quick question. I was told, and I don't know how true it is, that the entrance to Rainbury Bay had fountains on each side when you came in through the doorway.
I've never heard about them or seen them. I know I've heard
It's been
that rumor
there.
too.
If you go back way, it was there, and it was removed because a member of the board didn't want to hit the water anymore. This was before you guys
I
came around.
understand, but I can't answer that, so thank you.
I'm just saying, well, you're looking to put money into things, make it look beautiful.
It's a moot point at this point. We're not putting in fountains.
I didn't say put in fountains, but you're spending $2,000.
Okay, thank you. I don't think we're putting in fountains. We're trying to be ecological. Okay, I'm taking a vote, starting from my right.
Yes.
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 Aye.
Yes.
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 Thank you. Next page. This is pool 4. Thank you. Remove 2 hibiscus trees. Install 100 3-gallon green arbs. Arbs, okay. Anti-loo tie plants and red mulch. That total is $17.85. This is pool 4. Folks, please. Thank you. Okay, anyone want to make a motion on this?
I move we accept Palm Beach Broward proposal 1060 for the pool 4 work at a cost of $1,785.
Thank you. Second?
A second.
Thank you. Any questions on this proposal? Pool 4? No questions? I'll go right to the question. Ted, starting vote?
Yes.
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 Why not?
Yes.
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 Thank you. Moving along. Oh, this one also, what? This one's also pool 4. Pool 4, remove and dispose of cardboard palms. I never heard of those. Install plumbagos. Under the queen palms, install 12 mammy crotons. And copper leaves, blah, blah. $12.57. Have a motion for this
Move
one?
the question.
Don't I need a motion first?
Second.
I don't make motions.
I'm moving that we accept it. That's what
Alan's
move the
making a
question.
motion. I have a second for page 18. Joe beat you to it. I'm taking a vote starting from my right.
Yes.
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 Thank you. We're nearly done, folks. Just a few more, a few dozen more. Only kidding. Corner of the 24th Avenue in the Circle. Remove and dispose of plants and fern under trees. Close bed in, starting from street towards the tree with 20 pieces of sod. Add some kind of fern and mulch for $5.90. I'm sorry. That's page 19, proposal 1052. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Okay, can I get a second?
Second.
Who seconded that? Ted, thank you. Taking a vote, starting from my right.
Yes.
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 Yes. Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Appreciate it.
Yes.
Thank you. See, we're moving along now. Clubhouse office. Now, is this one a duplication?
I'm not sure because this isn't as clear to me what we're talking about. Could I get some clarification on remove and replace?
This one sounds the same.
It does and it doesn't. It says remove and replace Trinet and fill in parking lot entry at maybe left side. Is that the opposite side of the side we were talking about as we face the office?
This one says
No, it
clubhouse
says
office.
office. Okay, so in other words, where it says in property address and location, clubhouse/office, we do not consider this part of office?
I don't know. I'm totally confused. So, Mark, can you tell us where exactly this is?
No.
Okay. We're gonna wait on this one. Francesca, do you know?
Yes.
Okay.
When you come into the club.
Hold it close, because I really can't hear.
When you go into you walk through where we park the cars, going to Mark's office.
In the back?
In the back, over here.
Okay, go ahead.
As soon as you
you come around, you're gonna see trinettes. Some of the trinettes are down, some of them are going on the right-hand side if you're driving into his office.
Isn't that the same as the one that?
Francesca, this says 60. It's like 60 green island ficus. There's no way that's the area.
It doesn't have a number on it.
Somewhere. We need to pass.
Okay, let's,
We need to pass this.
okay, we're gonna pass on this one until it's clarified. In the lower one, it's dated 4/17. It says clubhouse office is circled. Okay, we're gonna hold off on that one until it's clarified.
Are we done with these?
Two more, folks. Clubhouse, left side of entrance. This is 1055. Where is this one? Removing
This is
it.
the one that I was talking about, that I thought you would discuss.
No. This is a that one says trinettes. And the next one says Green Island ficus. And then this one says dwarf.
This is a
Zora?
clubhouse left side, the entrance of the clubhouse.
Okay, one says right side, that one we already said we're not doing. The other one says clubhouse office. Green Island ficus to fill in empty areas front of clubhouse parking lot. That says, and then remove and replace trinette, left entry, left side.
Yeah,
So
that's the one we're not doing
We're
right
gonna
now.
hold off on that one. Okay. Ours is on page 21. It says clubhouse, left side of entrance. If that's the front, then that's what the beautification committee has already worked on.
Yes.
Remove and dispose of existing dwarf. Is this the one you've already worked
All
on?
right, this is now gonna lead into something that's on the agenda
Right.
coming up.
Okay.
Because what we already voted on and approved 2 weeks ago
Was one
the
side.
right side. This is now the left side, and we've already discussed adding something to the left side to make it balance and make sense to do, and we're gonna add that to our initial proposal for the right side. So this, even though it's not the exact same plan, because this has to do with plantings rather than building a wall, would have to be done in conjunction with
Right side.
what we're doing on the left side of the entrance. So I
Okay,
think
we're
we
gonna-
need to
We're gonna put this one
table.
aside and we're gonna look at,
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
The exhorers, they're not like the walkway, aren't they like on this side? Like this makes it sound like it's the entrance where you're walking up the walkway and it's on the left side of the walkway. This is around the corner where it's not really in the entranceway, it's like right on
Correct,
the
it's
side
around the
there.
corner, yes.
So this is different, I think, than what you guys are addressing.
can we get clarification before we vote on them then?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's get clarification
So page
on this.
21 we're putting
So
aside.
we're gonna put that off.
Okay, page 22. This is the Rainberry Circle across from 9th Street East, removed for areca palms and stumps with root balls. And that's $600. Do I have a motion to accept the proposal on 22?
I move we accept Palm Beach Power Proposal 1051 to remove the 4 areca palm stumps, which are really ugly, and fill in the holes for a total cost of $600.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Thank you, Joe.
I have a question.
Yes, please.
Does this cost include manpower and how long will it take? Doesn't say how many and how long it will take.
Yeah, no, this one, that'll include everything.
All inclusive.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay, I'll take a vote starting from my right.
Yes.
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 Okay, thank you. We made it through. Okay.
Actually, there's something missing from this list.
Okay.
What happened to the crepe myrtles?
We're not talking about them. Hold that thought. Okay.
I just wanted to make it clear that I'm withdrawing my opposition to removing them. Get rid of them, take them out.
Okay, moving along. The 21st Century Century Club has provided us with a new charter and their bylaws.
May I say something?
Yes. Oh, oh, you're welcome. Okay, 21st Century Charter, I don't see any questions or problems with it. It was duly signed by the officers and submitted for our approval.
I move that we approve the 21st Century Club Charter as submitted.
I second.
Thank you. I'm going to take a vote, starting from my right.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. We have a lot to do tonight, don't we? Okay. So the next section is, we made some changes to the committee handbook, partly because we have broken up hurricane preparation as it used to exist. Hang on, Helen, I will get to you, I promise. Hang on. So Helen wants to talk about the part that she wants to do because she'd rather explain it. Okay.
Not exactly. Hi, I'm Helen Soni, and I'm a CERT member, Community Emergency Response Team, and for the last 3 hurricane seasons, I've been the chairperson of the Hurricane Preparedness Committee. Just wanted a minute to speak before you vote on the proposed name change from Hurricane Preparedness to Hurricane Education Committee. When the committee was first formed, the mission was broad: to oversee the management's preparations for a hurricane, to be the link between CERT and the board, to educate the community on hurricane preparedness, as well as to be involved in recovery after a hurricane. The scope was huge and in many ways impossible for one committee to tackle. We managed to write protocols that will continue to be useful. We kept our residents informed. We had some fun with outside speakers, an original skit, and a trivia night with prizes. It's now time to spread the work out over a few committees to ensure that the right people are available to get essential tasks done. Those tasks are oversight of First Service Residential's hurricane preparation, gate security, generator maintenance and operation, and possibly a hospitality team. CERT continues to survey our homes and assist residents after a storm. This is a new era for Rainbury Bay. Over the last few years, we've seen a huge turnover in our community with new talent and energy coming in. We have a board, management company, and CERT team which work together to get essential equipment and preparation tasks accomplished. This year, I will continue to provide articles and relevant materials, as well as conduct community meetings during hurricane season. With a more clearly defined focus, I am seeking a co-chair and a few committee members to work with me towards this effort. Thank you.
Thank you, Helen, and thank you for everything that you do. So, in a nutshell, Helen will do the education portion, and CERT will do the CERT portion, and First Service does all that they are supposed to do in terms of keeping us hurricane prepared. They'll work with the CERT group to make sure that clubhouse will be set up properly for triage should we need it. And the rest of the oversight portion, the management oversight, will now go to the Management Oversight Committee. And that's what we're going to vote on now. In the handbook that Mark gave everyone, on page 18 is the addition of what used to be hurricane prep, which is now hurricane education. And it reads, general statement of purpose. The purpose is to create and implement a hurricane preparedness education. Information will be provided to residents regarding their responsibilities versus those of management and the HOA so that they can best prepare the inside and outside of their homes before disaster strikes. Community education and preparedness. Education on hurricane preparedness will be provided through articles, e-blasts, RIC, flyers, and manuals, as well as online links to Palm Beach County and FEMA information. Residents are encouraged to have adequate homeowners insurance to cover repairs should they sustain damage to their homes during a hurricane. And on page 23, added to the management oversight description, It just says that they will now include hurricane preparation requirements. So I'm looking for a motion to accept these two changes.
So moved.
I thank you. Any second?
I second.
Thank you, Ted.
I just, nitpicking comment, when the final wording is redone, the table of contents needs to be updated. The table of contents just needs to be updated before you print it again.
Thank you. Go ahead, Joe. Talk in the mic. Thank you, sir.
What, I don't understand, if this is called hurricane preparedness education, why isn't that the title of this? Why is it just hurricane education? I mean, it's specifically for preparedness, right?
No, Helen is, shouldn't answer for Helen, but my understanding is that she's strictly going to do education and not the preparedness portion that we did in the past. But Dave, can you give Helen the mic and let her answer?
Community education and preparedness,
So-
education on hurricane preparedness, we tried through the articles last week.
There's actually more than preparedness. It's on safety during and after a hurricane. It's, when we called the committee hurricane preparedness, there was, as Alan and I have discussed, unrealistic expectations that our committee actually help people to physically prepare for a hurricane. And in fact, we bent over backwards trying to create teams of volunteers to go around and help people when these things happen kind of just naturally when there's an emergency or hurricane coming. And I would be getting calls from people, are you gonna look in on my parents? Who's gonna bring them food? What, no one could bring them an egg? What's wrong with you people? Who's gonna close my shutters? Who do you know who can close my shutters? Why don't you have lists? So we decided to take that out of the equation. First Service Residential prepares our property. People have to do their own preparation. We're educating them towards that end.
Okay. All right, I'll take a vote starting from my left. Joe, starting from my left, a vote on these changes.
Yeah.
Karen? Karen? Karen?
Yes.
Yes. Your turn.
What am I supposed to vote, yes or no? Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, now we have that beautification piece, which is now I'm totally confused.
No, it hopefully will be as clear
Clear as mud?
as clear as a crystal ball. Okay. What we want to do is essentially add an addendum to previously approved work 2 meetings ago, excuse me. 2 meetings ago, the board approved the building of that retaining wall on the right side of the entrance of the clubhouse. And
Hey, Joe, it's all breaking up. I can't understand a word of what's being said.
I don't know what somebody said.
That's Karen. What the heck?
Can she hear me? Not hear me? I'm not loud? Okay. 2 meetings ago, the board approved some work to be done to upgrade the beauty and effectiveness of the area to the right of the clubhouse entrance. It included moving drainage and some other aspects that would keep the mulch and soil from just bleeding out onto the walkway. It was approved. We went out, all of us on this committee and everyone who was interested came out and met with the contractor, who pointed out that if we did that, then the left side would have the same problem. We asked him to please give us a quote for doing something on the left side that would then have the same effect of keeping the mulch and soil from running out. In this case, it wouldn't be to the walkway, but it's onto the driveway. We got a quote for $550. This would be in addition to the money we've already had approved.
What this is in addition to what we've already approved.
That is correct. That's why I'm calling it an addendum. Now, you can call it anything you want. If you want to say it's a brand new proposal, I don't care. But it's $550 to do on the left side, something similar to what we already approved to do on the right side. And in this case, it would be to, it says on the left side of entrance, to help contain soil and mulch from washing away, install concrete landscape retaining wall with blocks approximately 4 levels high with a decorative 6-inch by 12-inch travertine piece as a cap. This will finish and complement the stone travertine retaining wall on right side per prior approval. So I'm just asking.
Okay, so what's
that we
the
do-
total for this, what we now?
Okay, so now it would be 3,900.
25.
Thank you.
Okay, that's the whole project.
Move to accept the proposal as presented.
And you have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ted.
Just a comment.
Go ahead.
I have no problem with the work. I'm completely taken aback by the contractor's payment terms. My question is, if you know, everybody knows, does this work require a permit from the city, yes or no?
I think it says not.
Whose determination is that? Because the city has an extensive landscape permit application, and I don't know whether this scope falls within it or not. I haven't had time to research it. Nonetheless, we can find that out later. However, if a permit is required, the contractor is saying they want to have final payment when the work is done and not when the permit is finalized and closed, which to me is completely backward from the way you do work. You don't give the guy final payment till the city's approved the work, that the city has to approve it. If he wants to get paid, maybe that's okay, but we would add a clause that says any work required to make corrections required by the city inspector will be at no cost to us.
Look at page 32, Robert. Because it says they'll apply for the permit. It says permit fees not included. Certain communities require, no, I wasn't. Due to constant changes in permit city requirements, we are sometimes not made aware of additional requirements until the permit is applied for. So I don't know that they're not applying for the permit.
I agree with that then. They say they are.
They're applying for the permit.
Yeah, page 30.
Pass the cost on to us.
Right, and that's
Well, we're going to pay for the permit in addition,
But
but
that's normal,
I'm
and I-
questioning the
it does
final
say
payment
that.
terms on page 30. Final payment will be paid the day project is completed and not when the permit is finalized and closed. That seems to me asking for trouble.
Can we ask them to?
Oh, I see what you're saying. It seems like it's in the opposite order. Yeah, we can.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll
let them
change
know.
that.
Okay, so can we pass Alan, can you change the motion so that we change that language?
Move to modify the proposal by inclusion of a payment due after the permit has been closed.
This proposal is a landscape, right?
Yes.
Yes.
We can't change the proposal.
Well, we can go back to them and tell them we
Well,
want to
yeah,
amend
okay.
it.
Except it's subject to the permit.
Okay, so we're going to accept it based on their modifying the proposal. Okay, I'm going to take a vote, starting from my... Robert, do you second this modified proposal?
Second.
Okay, thank you. Okay, hold on. Also, Ted was the one sorry.
I have just one question. I'm not opposed to anything that's going to beautify the community. I'm confused. Is this coming up the entrance to the clubhouse door?
No, at the end of the walkway.
Well, is this what I'm concerned about? And I don't know what it is. I've not been discussed with it. Is this going to affect the bicycles that come along?
No, it's right out here. It's straight out.
Well, okay, but we have bicycles that come in there along the side. I just want to make sure that that's not going to affect them.
It's going to be in the beds.
It should not
Okay,
have
that-
any effect on any traffic.
Okay, I'm going to take a vote. I'm going to start from my left again, just to keep Alan on his toes.
I'm gonna vote no until we change, the wording's changed.
Okay. Do we want to table it until the wording is changed? Okay. Karen? Okay.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No. Okay, so then it's tabled until the, I'm sorry, you can vote, Ted?
Yes.
Thank you. So it's tabled. Tabled for the language change.
Bring it up at the next meeting.
Will do. Okay. Any liaison reports from the board? Anyone from the board? Robert?
I just talked about irrigation before, I want to add one more thing. The rain sensors have now all been installed. There are some adjustments that need to be made, and First Service has been monitoring the performance, and they're actually doing the job. When it rained early last Saturday morning, whatever morning it was, the first couple hours that the dawn did not come on. A few hours later, they came on. The way these things work, they get wet, they turn off the system, and they dry out. And once they've dried out, they can, whatever zones didn't get water when it was raining, get water. And they're doing that job correctly. We're adjusting the time. Some of them are under trees, they don't work, and the contractor's going to fix those. But they are doing a job. Now that it's rainy season, we're taking advantage of that and conserving our water by law, and as we should be doing.
Anything, Joe? No? Any liaison or club or committee reports? I see a hand.
Yes, evidently.
Hold on, wait for the microphone, please. Give your name.
Sidney Markowitz.
Yes.
The sprays are not working.
No, this is club or committee reports. So we'll get to good welfare next. Irving? Hold on, wait for the microphone, please. Please.
Just briefly, you'll get an e-blast on this. The clubhouse will be closed from 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock Saturday morning. We're going to be doing generator inspections, making sure all the electric is working and everything like that, that we have everything set for, God forbid, we have a hurricane.
It's not closed for the whole day?
Huh?
It's not closed for the whole day?
No, we'll be done by 2 o'clock.
Thank you. Let's put up a sign. Oh, it's up already. Okay. Anything club or committee reports? Back to Sydney. Give Sydney back the mic. We'll do good welfare.
Our sprinkler system on our side of the street is not working. When it works, and it's a big when, we have like a geyser coming up. Well, I will tell you.
May I ask a question?
Did we get a work
Have you
order?
called in a work? Thank you.
Yes,
Have you
I
called in a work?
did.
Okay. When the meeting's over, either come see Mark, or if he's already dashed out the door, just call the office again tomorrow.
It's calling the office is a waste.
Well,
Because they
then
have
come
to
see
take
Mark.
that when
Come
that's-
see Mark at the end of the meeting. Okay? Thank you. I have another hand in the back.
I'm done, I'm ready. That's Steve. Done?
I have an issue.
Your name, sir?
Steve Bodnar.
Thank you.
I have an issue about my dumpster and the dumpsters at the villas, and people from the homes keep on coming over and putting trash in our dumpsters and throwing them up. Just a quick story. About 3 or 4 weeks ago, someone came over, put trash in the dumpster, and I said to the guy, "This is the villas dumpster. You guys from the homes have your own system of doing things." And he said, basically said, "F you," and that this belongs to Rainbury Bay and all that. When he left, I saw the bag that he put in there. I pulled the bag out, and I got his address, okay? I took the trash in a bag over to his house and put it on, next to his mailbox, right? I think I told Mark about it, and Mark sent a letter to his mother. True story, everybody, true story. Okay, so another week goes by, I get a call from the Delray Police Department. Okay? He goes down there and says that I was littering. I'm littering with his trash. Littering, loitering, and trespassing. Okay? Fine. That's the end of that story. I explained to the cop that how this works in villas and the homes and trash pickups and this and that. And just this last Sunday, I saw him driving around in the village area again. But about 10 minutes later, another guy comes by with a bunch of cardboard and puts it in the recyclable bin there. And I tell him the same thing. Now I know everybody's going to say, well, why don't you take a picture? Okay? It's confrontational to take a picture. I don't want to mess with nobody. I want this thing to be resolved. Anyway, the guy puts the trash in there. He says, I'm the only guy in Rainbury that does something right. He recycles. He's recycling in the trash cans that hold the recyclables. Okay? You can't take pictures. You can't confront these people. Okay? Something's got to be done. Solution. Okay? Get small 3-yard dumpster, put it in the parking lot, and let the homeless people come over. If they buy a TV, they got the cardboard, you put it in, you get 4 recyclable things like we used to have, containers, and the big dumpster, get rid of the big dumpster, okay? And the guy with the big TV or the cardboard, he can cut it up and put it in there, okay? One of those guys, he said he doesn't like the smell of trash in his garage, okay? They have all kinds of excuses, and they think they own it, and as much as you put it into the beacon, into raindrops, in the email blast, they don't read it, okay? They don't read nothing, okay? If you put something in, say, now we have a dumpster for the homeless people to use, please come and use it if you need to.
If they'll pay for it, I think that's a good idea.
Also,
the documents always call for a community dumpster.
Well?
In the parking lot, not a homeless dumpster, a community dumpster.
Why did it disappear?
Because of contractors.
Thank you, Steve.
I'm not done yet.
Oh.
What happened?
Go ahead. Can I time you?
No, I'm just
You have 3 minutes.
I'm just listening to Joe.
Go ahead. Thank you, Steve.
Go ahead.
No. Are you finished? You can hand back the mic.
Okay.
Thank you. Go ahead, Jim.
Okay, so we used to have the community dumpster, and this worked because when people were leaving for the season, whatever, and they needed to get rid of trash, instead of having it lay out or nobody around them to take their bag, their garbage pail back in, they brought it over and they threw it in the dumpster. We were having problems with contractors using that dumpster, okay? Contractors have to take everything off the site, okay? I don't care if they're landscapers or what they are. It goes or they don't come back. I think we need to put that dumpster back in.
Okay, we can talk about that. I don't know.
Actually, let's do more than talk about it. I would like to move that we put this on the agenda.
No,
for
I'd
the next meeting.
like to research it more because as I recall, it got very expensive.
I'd like to put it on the agenda so we can push it for the next meeting.
Okay. Go ahead, Gail.
Gail Gallinan. I was the one that got that dumpster removed in the first place when I was on the board. And the reason being because, like you said, everyone was using it. It was getting overflowing, and people just seemed to put it in a dumpster. It looked like a terrible eyesore. Plus, it cost a lot of money every month to dump that out. So it cost us money. People were using it and abusing it. And so that's why it was removed.
And contractors were using it, and it was pretty hard. You couldn't really monitor it. Francesca?
Francesca, is there a way of just putting some cameras around?
No. There is a way, but I'm saying no because we'll have there's a lot of dumpsters in all the village section. There's at each end of each block and a number of blocks.
I think Francesca's talking about putting a camera on the dumpster that we would put in the parking lot.
Yes. I guess we probably can.
Because when we did have it, the contractors were always in there, as Joe was saying, constantly. So
Francesca, here's the thing. We have a choice. We can have the stuff laying out on Atlantic, on the drive, on Rainbury Drive, whenever they put it there until Friday when the city comes to pick it up, unless Mark's people pick it up. Yeah, contractors are going to do that. Or they're going to leave it wherever they decide to leave it. And then we have to police it. But in the meantime, it looks just as bad when I drive around the circle and I see mounds of garbage on the circle, which I do several times a week.
Well, I just want to say one thing. When you have a house and you're putting it together, it is your responsibility to get a dumpster in your driveway and get the stuff in it. That's what responsible people do.
And we have 901 responsible families living here, guaranteed.
Yeah, we don't. You know that.
Jessica?
Nothing you don't know. No. Go ahead. No, excuse me. Excuse me, whoever's speaking out, wait for the mic. Go ahead, Jerry.
My comment is...
Give me your name, sir.
My name is Jerry Springer.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Lois Weasel.
It's for the recording. I know your name.
My comment is for Pool 3. I was sitting in the back of Pool 3, and the guard came up, put her, whatever, on the scanner, never walked in. The phone for the emergency number was inactive.
Oh, okay.
So I yelled to her and said, why don't you do your job and come in and see if anybody's lying in the bottom of the pool or fainted in the bathroom. And she said, I didn't see you there. I said, because you didn't do your job. She came in and I said to her, I think there's somebody dead in the ladies' bathroom. She walked over, opened the door, and said, there's nobody in there. I said, how about the phone? Did you try the phone? I said, I tried the phone. She picked the phone up. There was no dial tone. For the emergency number, in case somebody needs a defibrillator, or a kid falls in the pool, or an old man falls into the pool. So, I went there today just to check it out. And when I checked it out, it said pool closed. But there was no cord around the door. So what good does pool closed mean if nobody is doing anything inside?
Okay, let me ask a question.
Go.
Did you call in a work order for the phone being out?
No, I spoke to the Oversight Committee person, and I told them about it. When I walk into the office and I try to talk to certain people in there, they're very busy. So I felt the Oversight Committee was the person to talk to. I think it has to be addressed. I don't care if it's the smallest pool. There is danger everywhere. I think it has to be addressed.
Well,
Thank you.
I don't disagree with you. I wish you had called me, since I am the liaison to the telecommunications, or put in a work order. But I will bring that up tomorrow. Thank you. I appreciate knowing whoever's hand is up.
Hi, Rita Sue. I think a good way to eliminate, when you get a dumpster, it should be put in the beacon and put in on raindrops and let it be known to all of the contractors that if any of their equipment is put into any of our dumpsters, they will be banned from our community and not be able to do work here.
Right.
And I think by doing that, then they will either go to the beat or not be able to
The
work
homeowner
here.
has to direct that.
And it can be done, because it is done in my friend's community.
Okay, thank you. Jerry, while you're there.
I have a quick question. You're all talking about beautification and all these beautiful things. Have any of you looked at the bricks coming into the front door of this place?
They're gonna be cleaned after we do that landscaping work. They're gonna be cleaned and sealed. It's gonna be cleaned and sealed. Yeah, they're bad, I agree. Whoever's handed the back there, I can't see.
The problem with Rita's idea is the community can be sued for keeping a contractor out. It is illegal.
Well, and I don't know that we can enforce that, because I don't think there's any way for us to monitor who puts the garbage
Same
in.
problem with our house up north, and the community's being sued because it is illegal to keep a contractor out.
Okay, thank you.
Constrained.
But again, it really falls on the homeowner. You have to tell your contractors that they can't dump in our community dumpsters.
Why can't we issue a piece of paper to a contractor when it comes through that says you must take everything with you? And then he can't say he hasn't been told.
We can, figure that out too. All right, folks.
Yeah, I'm gonna read that notice.
Go ahead, give me your name, please.
My name is Arthur.
Wait, hold on, wait for everybody to be quiet. Everybody be quiet, please. Everybody. Thank you, go ahead, give your name.
Arthur Martinez.
Thank you.
I just wanted to ask if it's possible to have the 2 bins where the free weekly or monthly newsletters come out from like the Delray or whatever, in the parking lot.
In the parking lot.
Can we look, I never go into that parking lot, I live so close by, I don't need a car to come here, but is it possible to move it where the library drop box is so that we can get a
I
copy?
can only say they've been there forever and ever, I don't know, that's something we certainly, I don't care, frankly.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to read it, but I never seem to go into the parking lot. My next question is, when are we going to fertilize the grass?
It's, from what, Francesca's saying this is the wrong time of the year. Hold on, wait, can you give Francesca the mic? Folks, please. We're almost done, bear with us. Go
The
ahead.
reason why they're not fertilizing the grass yet is because there's just still more weeds. If we stop fertilizing the grass, we're going to fertilize the weeds. So we're just waiting for to kill
A weed feed. Folks.
Don't, it's too late for that.
Hold on, are you finished? I'm sorry. Okay, any other comments? Just wait. Let me take Steve is the last one.
Yeah, he's been imitating a tree for the past 10
I know,
minutes.
I see him out of the corner of my eye.
2 points. Number one, contractors are putting toilets in our dumpsters in the villas. They're putting all their work into the villas dumpsters instead of putting it into the big dumpster in the parking lot. And number two, for $130 a month to have a 3-yard dumpster there, I think it's a small price to pay, where someone could tell somebody, you put your stuff in that dumpster over there, don't use the villa's dumpsters.
We will look into it for the next meeting.
$130 a month.
Well, and that's, okay, moving, go ahead, Rob.
I just want to go back to the question about the sprinklers not working. What's your address?
Shh, folks.
3135 14th Street.
3135 14th, I'll check it out. I just want to follow to that. We finally, within the past few days, we finally got a complete wet check report from Palm Beach Broward. This is the first time we've gotten one since they've been here. They tested every zone for the month of May, so we at least have a report that they actually tested something. Whether they found yours and fixed it or not, I don't know, but we'll check it out.
So all I know is the other day I got a phone call to come right home because it was like the guys are coming up.
I understand.
We'll check into
We
it.
have 10 or 20,000 sprinkler heads, and frankly, if 1 or 2 are bad every day, we're pretty well off. But that's the way they go. We just have a lot, and it's a constant job. 2 guys out there doing nothing but repairing those things. That's the way, we can't guarantee they're all going to work. They work one day, it's broken the next. Common problem, report it, they get there as fast as they can. Put in a work order, they will get there. Ladies and
Thank you.
please do work orders.
Yes.
Move to,
Thank you, I'm just gonna ask for,